Thanks everybody for joining us this morning. My name is Nick Thurlbeck and I'm the Chair of Commerce Ballarat. I'll begin this morning's session by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we meet, the Wokring people. I pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. I'd like to welcome special guests joining us today, including Belinda Glass, CEO of the Ballarat Turf Club, committee members of the Ballarat Turf Club. Before I introduce our host today, as always, I'd like to thank our Biznet sponsors. Like all our sponsors, they've committed to our organisation, and this support has helped us offer assistance to this wonderful community that is Ballarat. We know that the coming years will see our businesses needing as much support as we can offer. So if your 2020 has not been as difficult for your business as it has been for so many others, we ask that you give a little bit of thought to getting behind one of our initiatives in 2021. The sponsorship opportunities are available, and if you'd like to, get in touch with Jody, Gillett or one of the team at Commerce Ballarat. I'd like to thank this year's sponsors: Adroit Insurance and Risk, BJT Legal, Findex, Radio Ballarat, and of course the support from the City of Ballarat. Just letting you know, you can put questions in the Q&A at any time, but responses may depend on the availability of the trainers. Our MC will do his best this morning, and our MC that we're joined by is Lachlan McKenzie, owner of McKenzie Ag and past CEO of the Ballarat Turf Club. Over to you, Loch.
Good morning, Nick. Thank you, and good morning, everybody. This will be an interesting experience because obviously you can only see a couple of people on the screen, so I'm sure there's more out there. But thanks so much for having me involved with the Biznet Breakfast. I'm really pleased to be able to do this, and I love my racing, and it's great to have a small involvement with the club, and I'm very appreciative for Belinda and the Turf Club to give me the opportunity. So I think this morning we're going to kick off with a chat to one of our trainers. I just had a message here that Archie Alexander's coming in about 7:35. So perhaps if Alex, if you let me know when Archie's there, so I can begin our discussion with him. We're also going to speak to Terry Henderson from OTI Thoroughbreds, who's Australia's, would be fair to say, Terry's very modest, but there's no doubt Terry's the most successful syndicator, sort of horse ownership organiser, if you like, in the country, and got exciting time coming up with the Spring Carnival. And also we've been joined by Calvin McAvoy. So Calvin McAvoy is Tony McAvoy's son, and they train in partnership, and really a fantastic coup for Ballarat to have the McAvoys moving their main stable to Ballarat. So the new facilities are being built. I'll speak to Belinda about that as we go along, but it's going to be very exciting to have Tony McAvoy, who's and his son Calvin, two of the best trainers in the country, being based in Ballarat. And we're also going to speak to Dave Eustace, who's in a training partnership with Ciaron, Maher, Ballarat's biggest trainer at the moment. So they've got, I think 9 horses nominated for the Caulfield Guineas on Saturday, and they can only run field 16. So I'd say they're in for a big day on Saturday, so we'll have a chat about that. And what I would like to do, I'm not sure how this can be sort of managed, and I'll ask Leah to help with this, but it'd be good if we have some questions, if there are any, for the trainers as we go along, or for Terry as we go along, because as we're not all in one room, people have to get back to work. So the trainers have got jump outs and track work on at the moment. So rather than waiting to the end, please interrupt or send a message through, and Leah might be able to manage that for us as we go along. I see Archie's there. Good morning, Arch.
Hi, Lockie. How are you?
Thank you. Thanks so much for coming on board.
That's good to actually come and sit under the heater for 5 minutes.
Yeah, I know exactly where you're sitting. I've sat there a few times myself in the past. But one of the things about you that I can think about was when you came to Ballarat to start with. You had 5 horses, and you asked me about getting staff because you said, I won't be long and I'll be spending most of the days at the races, and I'll be having to go down to Melbourne every Saturday for the races. And I'll need someone here to work on weekends. And I thought, he's dreaming. I think that this young, brash fella can turn up here and have horses racing in Melbourne every Saturday, and it took you about a couple of weekends and off you went. And the stable's just gone from strength to strength, and it's absolute credit to you when you drive past your place to see what you've done, not only in developing your business, but developing the infrastructure around it. So congratulations on that. We might just start off if you can give us a bit of a rundown with what you have done with your developments.
No, thanks a lot, Lockie, and that's only been possible through really good support from Terry Henderson for one. OTI were a great hand early on and still are, and all my owners that have been with me along the way and joined in, and without them there would be no stable, so big thanks to them. And I guess going back to what you were saying, if you, without being arrogant, if you don't have a bit of self-belief, and I'm not saying you think you're going to be the best, but you have to think you're going to be competitive. Otherwise, there's no point being in a sport. So, yeah, I had to be sort of a bit bullish. Now, with the stables, when we moved there was 32 boxes that the turf club provided, and since then we bought the house that most people can see from Kennedy's Road. The house, and there were 5 acres on that side, so we put so about 30 boxes now on that side. Some of them are walk-in, walk-out yards. Another walker, redid the swimming pool. There was a swimming pool there in pretty poor state, and we tidied that up. So done a lot of work, and there's a staff house there, which is a big asset, to have people 24/7 on the place. In general, I think we just sort of tidy the place up and spend a bit of money, but it's where we live and where we work, and we put all our eggs in one basket and gone for it.
So what's the capacity of the complex now?
So I think actually today we've got 69 horses on the place, and I mean, you could probably get 1 or 2 more in there, but around 70 is a really good number, and I think it's a good number for me at this stage of my career. Everyone's an individual, and I think having 70 horses for me is about enough. I'm quite hands-on. I like to know what's going on. I think in time, if you had 2 places, like a beach facility, and let someone else run that and you run another one, that's fine. But for me at the moment, 70 is a good number.
Yeah, it's one of the great success stories, your business, and what you've done from such an early age. And this has only happened with success. It's one of the most unforgiving career paths, I think, being a horse trainer, because if you don't get that success early, it's very hard to get any momentum, and you've clearly built the momentum from the start. But what has eluded you is the elusive Group 1, second couple of times, is that right?
Yeah, 2.
Beating a lip in Sydney last year. So going Chieftain's up and going again, I see. Yeah,
he's in great form. Being really sort of harsh to him, maybe he's just sort of that, literally a head, half a length off for Group 1. He's been a brilliant horse. We love him to bits, and he's definitely got some big wins in him. But to say he's going to win a Caulfield Cup or a Melbourne Cup, that might be just stretching it. But he's going to run a big race in the Herbert Power at the weekend. He just galloped literally 10 minutes ago. Worked really well. So he's a great horse. But as far as a Group 1, they're pretty hard to get. On 2 occasions, I thought we'd get there with Maher and Gaelic Chieftain, but not to be. And we keep trying, keep looking for the right horse.
So is Charlo the right horse?
Yeah, could be. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. We're running a Group 3 next week at Caulfield, and that would be a good starting point for her to sort of climb the ladder. If she could win a Group 3, that puts her in a really good spot to go and have a crack at a Group 1, which will be the Empire Rose during Cup Week. But as we all know, it's from benchmark to group race to a Group 1, there's a big sort of step each time. But she's got the right profile. She's 3 from 3, and she looks like every time we've raised the bar, she's gone again.
And how about Kauai? Archie won the last 2 Ballarat Cups, which is very exciting. What's Kauai's future over the next couple of weeks or months?
Yeah, he's a very special horse to us. You know, winning your own cup was great. Your last cup, and you know, our first cup. And I didn't think, you know, when you've only been in a town sort of for 5 years to win it already is great. So that's a bit of pressure off, and we've ticked that box. And it's funny, this time last year, to be blunt, he was going as awful as he is this year, and he still won the cup. So I think he's a horse you don't take too much notice of his early form. He's what we sort of call in the racing world, he's sort of warming up to something bigger and better. You're starting off over shorter trips, and you're just building a bit of momentum. But once he gets deep into the spring, up to 2,000 metres on his home track, you know, he'll run a big race. So he runs on Wednesday, the same day as Charlotte in the Coonji, which he ran in last year. So we're following exactly the same path every step. And hopefully that path ends up here in the Ballarat Cup.
How special was it to win your hometown cup? Is it? I mean, it's a bit cliche in some respects, I guess, but it's having a clear memory of the day. It was obviously something which meant a lot more to you than just winning any other race of a similar sort of rating or prize money.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things. Sadly, it is my hometown cup now, but it's not like I was born and bred here. So it's probably, for someone that was born and bred here, it's even more special. But I guess I'm sort of been adopted now by Ballarat, and it's my town now. You know, this is where we live. Yeah, so it's very special. I think another special thing that you never really think about is sometimes when you go with one big race in Sydney, Adelaide, Flemington, Caulfield, but you don't have many staff there. I'm part of the team. When we won, I think every member of staff we employ was here, you know, right down to your vet, your farrier, all the track work riders, obviously my wife, my boy was here, everyone was here. So very, very special that you can actually enjoy it, because normally, you know, I think when I won a Group 2 in Sydney, I was pretty much by myself. And you go to the airport by yourself, you fly back that night and maybe have a beer. So it wasn't, you know, it was a bit sort of lonely sometimes on those big days, but here it was great. We could enjoy it, and no, it was very special.
Well done, Arch, and the best of luck for the Spring Carnival, and I guess the years ahead for you. Now we might just move on to Dave Eustace, because there's jump outs on and so on. Everyone's busy, so thanks again, Arch.
Thanks, Lachie. All the best. Okay,
cheers. Lee, could you just put up the video of Per Sam? We might just. Are we going to Calvin or to Dave Eustace? I think, are you online there, Dave?
Yeah. Hi, Luck. How you doing?
Good morning, mate. Just before we have a chat, we just got a few seconds of vision of Persan. Are you able to play that there, Claire? So just while we're watching this video on the screen here, Dave, congratulations on getting this horse from a maiden to the Melbourne Cup in 1 year. That's just an extraordinary effort. And I said to Belinda yesterday, although Ballarat's had some strong Melbourne Cup connections in recent years, quite often they're horses that have been shipped back and forth between Warrnambool and Ballarat, or have done part of the preparation elsewhere. But I believe this horse has done his whole preparation has been based out of Ballarat, so it's a fantastic local connection, and you've given all the Ballarat people a great thrill with this horse already.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been there the whole time. He has had, you know, phenomenal preparation, and credit to the horse and the staff for keeping him improving, happy and healthy throughout that prep. So he won his maiden in April, and you know, he's now running in the Cup in November, and he's had 10 runs. He hasn't been out of the 3. He might not have been out of the 2, actually. I'm not sure. But it's been, yeah, phenomenal prep, and hopefully it can improve again.
Yeah. Are we able to cross to Terry Henderson as we're going? Can you hear me, Terry?
Yes, I can, Log. Yep.
Just while Dave's there, quickly, you might just make a quick comment with the amount of effort you put into the Melbourne Cup over your career at ATI. Just how special is it to get a horse from a maiden to the Melbourne Cup in one season?
I don't know of it happening before, to be honest. You know, it's probably, if we go way back, we'll probably find a horse. But I was actually talking to Ciaron on Saturday night about it, and it's quite incredible, really, that you've got a horse that's, I think, a homebred, Bob McClure, who's the chief owner of the horse. I think he bred it and has taken it all the way through with the Eustace Maher team and has got it to this stage. So quite a unique experience.
Yeah. So just back to you. Thanks, Terry. It's interesting to hear that Terry's unaware of this happening before, and I think if there was one in recent times, Terry would know about it. So clearly, it's a great achievement on behalf of your stable. Now, there is a quick question here that's popped up on the Q&A. Hello, David. Persan has a half sister that you have named Shawcan. Any comments about her? I have a small interest.
Yeah, she is a very, very nice filly. We've always liked her. She's a late developer. We wanted to get her to the races just before spring, and she just kept on getting little sicknesses, scoping dirtier, nothing major, but she just wasn't quite right. And you know, knowing what Persan was doing himself, the family obviously get better with age, and you know, he's coming into his own now at 4, and wasn't a winner until midway through his 3-year-old year. So we took our time with her. We've given her a break through spring, but we do think she's a very nice filly. She's quite not a single out. I think she's going to go a long way.
Yep. And how many other horses do you have heading towards the Melbourne Cup? Like, do you have others that are assured of getting a run?
Sir Dragon A will definitely get a run. His main focus is Cox Plate, but he's likely to run in the Melbourne Cup if he runs well in the Cox Plate and comes through it well. And after that, it's only horses that will target the Lexus with, and if they were to win that, then they may get in. So Al Galeal's a horse racing very well. His form continues to get boosted, I suppose. He beat Mirage Dancer the other day at Moonee Valley, and who went on to win the Metrop. So he's a horse that could end up there. But Persan and Sir Dragon are our two main horses, yeah.
And does Al Galal run the Group 1 race on Saturday at Caulfield, the Caulfield Stakes, or the lesser race?
Possibly. That race hasn't come up overly strong. We didn't feel if Russian Camelot runs, then I think we'll probably try and avoid him. But we'd like to sneak in the Caulfield Cup. He's on the border. We'll know more today after midday because the second acceptances are out there. So we'd love to have a crack at the Caulfield Cup. We think it's a race that he could run very well in, and if he doesn't get in, then there's lots of other good prize money races down the track. The Ballarat Cup is going to be his end goal for Al Galeal. Fast ground, 2,000 metres, open handicap, and that's going to be his main target for the rest of the second half of this preparation.
Now, when you can run in Ballarat for 500,000, the same prize money as a Group 1 race at Caulfield 2 weekends ago, it just shows how good the prize money is on offer for these country cups. So good luck with that one. I see you've got 9 horses nom for the Guineas, the Caulfield Guineas on Saturday. Yeah. Now they can run 16. You're going to have half the field, or some of those? I see Grand Slam and Jet Propulsion are also nommed in Sydney. What's the plans for the Guineas?
Yeah, Grand Slam, who's Jamaica's full brother, he'll run in the Guineas, and so will Amish Boy. So both owned by Colin McKenna. Amish Boy was second in the Prelude. He's been racing very well. He was second in the Danehill and the Prelude. They worked together here at Caulfield this morning. And Grand Slam, you know, he'll be a big price, but his works continue to improve. He's still a relatively lightly raced horse. He's a colt who's just taken a couple of runs to get fit. I thought he worked really well here this morning. We're going to get rain this week, which will really suit him. He loves to get his toe in, and they're predicting 20 to 30 on Wednesday. So if that stays in the ground and it's on the soft side, I think both will run very well in what, you know, I think looks an open race this year. Chris Waller's horse, you know, plenty of respect for it, but I think it's an open race.
You've got another horse in the Group 1 race that likes a wet track, also Juniper in the Toorak on Saturday. What can you tell us about Juniper?
Yeah, Juniper's going great. He worked this morning. Lockie's got a share in Juniper, so I'm surprised it took you so long to ask how he worked this morning. But yeah, he worked very well. They had a strong piece of work with another horse. Johnny came down and sat on him, and he's just ticking over beautifully. He's a very straightforward horse now, to be honest. Once we got him fit and moving well, he's off the back of some surgery, but I don't think he could be in a better spot. And and the more rain the merrier. So we just look forward to the draw, and I think it'll be hard to beat.
Yeah, very exciting. We can't wait. So that's Juniper and the Ciaron on Saturday, who was gelded for, and for those that don't follow our sport, gelding is when he had his testicles removed and he's turned into a entirely different horse. Quite amazing, the transformation in his behaviour, I guess you'd say, when you're Dave. Would that be right?
Yeah, absolutely. He was a talented young horse, but just a little bit, he could be a little bit lazy, a little bit leery, not really focusing solely on the job. And there was always a good horse there, but it was getting him to extract it on race day, and even at home was difficult. And it makes life difficult to train. It's harder to get them fit. They then require more work, which they might then not be 100% wanting to be doing either. So you're very often in a bit of a vicious cycle, and it's difficult to get the horse fit, and obviously as a result really finishing their races off on race day, and they finish tired. So by gelding them, they just become a more, not all, but a lot become a more sort of complete race horse. They're a bit lighter, trimmer, easier to deal with, more enthusiastic, and he's a really good example of a horse who's turned his form around.
Yeah, that's great. Very exciting. Just quickly before I let you go, perhaps just give us a quick brief on how you manage this massive stable. You have horses based in Sydney, Ballarat, and in Melbourne and down the beach. Could you just give us a sort of a snapshot on how all that's set up, how the structure works, and how you manage to get the well-oiled machine to continue the way it is?
Look, we're like all big businesses. You rely on good staff, and Ciaron's always had a huge emphasis on that. Ballarat, Lachlan runs Ballarat day to day. Ciaron's brother, and has done since taking over, so about 18 months, and that's naturally that took a bit of time to work out, but I feel like we're in a good rhythm there now. So we basically have someone running each station. Lucy Yeoman's assistant trainer runs Caulfield. We've got an assistant up in Sydney who's now Jack Bruce, previously was Annabelle Neesham. And at the beach at Balnaring, David Noonan runs Balnaring property, and Meg at the farm at Pakenham. So, you have someone responsible for each stable, wherever that may be. And then I'll generally Caulfield and Ballarat, and split my time between Caulfield and Ballarat. It's been a little bit more stretched with Ciaron being in Sydney for the last sort of 3 months. He's been up in Sydney, so I generally do 3 days in Ballarat, 2 days at Caulfield, and a day going to the farm pre-training in Balnaring. So obviously communication's absolutely key. On a Monday we go through every horse from top to bottom. I'll be at Caulfield on a Tuesday, Ballarat Wednesday, Thursday, and Caulfield again on a Saturday and Friday, going to the beach. So there's structure there. You've got to be a little bit fluid and spread yourself around, and try and get to the races when you can. But it couldn't be done without the staff behind it, running each stable.
Yeah, so we might just finish with the congratulations for winning the Trainers Premiership. So it must have been a great thrill.
Yeah, it was. It was, a great achievement. I think, premierships, whatever sport it is, it's just it's a good reputation of consistent results throughout a whole year, and that's what you're striving to achieve. Really, is to get that consistency, whichever horses are in the stable at that time, whether it's not just your spring and your autumn horses, but your horses through winter and summer. If you're winning a premiership, then largely they're running well throughout the year. So, it's a good reward and pride for the stable and the staff to get that. We're really keen to push on and try and win that Metro Premiership this year. And we were a few behind Chris Waller in the National, so that's the next target for us. And we're a bit behind Chris at the moment. We started strong and we fell a few behind him, but he's having a good surge. But it'll be a good battle throughout the year, hopefully.
Well, I know the Ballarat Turf Club and everyone in Ballarat's very proud to have the leading trainers still in Ballarat after Darren Weir's demise, and have you guys sort of take over and continue the winning form's been fantastic. So good luck, Dave, and thanks so much for your time this morning.
Thanks, Loch. And look, we really appreciate all the help we get from the Turf Club. You know, the guys and the team, they work very well with the trainers to get you know, the best facilities are absolutely first class, and you know, that's represented hopefully by personality. Hopefully, we can win the cup.
Well, I think Alex from the Turf Club's doing a little special on Persam, which will be on the Turf Club socials this afternoon. So he said down do some video and an interview. So that'll be great to see the horse up front. So well done. Thanks again, and enjoy the rest of your morning.
Thanks. See you guys.
Are you there, Cal? Thanks.
Yeah, hi, Locke.
Good morning, Cal. Sorry to hold you up. Appreciate your time, but whereabouts did we find you this morning? You at Flemington?
Yeah, here at Flemington, Lockie. Just finished gallops.
All right. Could you just turn if you're on your phone, just give us a bit of a look around so we can see the stables there? Let me see who's this horse you got behind you?
That's Meteorite. We won on Friday night at Menu Valley. I think you might have had something on him, Lockie, didn't you?
Yeah, thanks so much. I was you beat me to the punch. So for the listeners, on Friday we had a run-through session for today, and I asked Cal for one tip for the weekend, and he said Meteorite, and won that night by a long space. Was very impressive. So thanks very much. We're able to go out and enjoy breakfast for the first time in a long time on the weekend, and you paid for it. So well done, and again, thank you. So tell us about your Flemington stable before we talk about Ballarat.
Yeah, we've got 40 boxes here at Flemington. We had 2 yards at Flemington for quite some time, and sort of as we were planning to expand to Ballarat, we decided to downsize Flemington, and then coronavirus hit. So it's left us with a little bit of a smaller setup at Flemington currently, but it's very, very nice to have 40 boxes here, and very much looking forward to Ballarat opening up at the end of the year.
So you've got your audience this morning is a fair proportion of the business community in Ballarat. This is Commerce Ballarat's Biznet breakfast. So here's your chance to give yourself and your stable a plug. I'll speak to you about the move to Ballarat in a minute, but with the success that you and your father have had in not only in recent years, but I guess through Tony's whole career, it's a massive move to Ballarat. And if someone from Ballarat was interested in joining the new stable, perhaps give us a couple of reasons why they should.
Yeah, look, it's obviously South Australia, the old Lindsay Park, which is where we're based out of in SA. It's been a fantastic property for so many years for both the Hayes family and now us. And it's always been our main base, with Flemington as a bit of a second yard. But we've done a lot of planning and decided that Ballarat was the perfect place to expand to and make the main base. Obviously, the prize money in Victoria is fantastic. It's a long way ahead of South Australia, and it just gives us gives our owners a more of an opportunity to obviously be profiting, and that's what we want to do. We want to be training winners for people and letting them enjoy the game. So you know, we had a good long hard think about where we could go and what you guys at Ballarat are offering, the facilities. And as I heard Dave say just before, it's just, you know, very helpful, which is all us as trainers want. We just want the club to help us, and we're all trying our best. So we're going to have 102 boxes at Ballarat, and yeah, if anyone wants to get involved, we'll certainly have space for them.
So the 102 boxes, how many of those would you expect will be filled when you first start training? Will you fill a whole lot, or will there be space for new horses?
Oh, of course, there'll be space for new horses. Look, we'll probably just build it. Continue bringing horses over slowly. You know, it's obviously opening over the Christmas period, so I want everyone that works for us to be able to have a bit of a nice break and not too hectic. But there'll be certainly room, and we'll just continue bringing the right horses over from South Australia and from Flemington, and hopefully by probably a few months in, it'll be full.
Yeah, I'm privileged enough to have had a couple looks through the stables after first seeing them on the plans, and it is just a phenomenal setup. It's going to be an absolute world-class complex. Belinda, if you can hear me, we might just pass over to you, and you might just give us just a quick brief on the actual complex itself and what's there.
Sure, it's progressing really well. We had a minor hiccup and a hold up for a couple of months due to COVID, but from July, construction has recommenced and going really well. So it will have, as Calvin alluded to, space for 102 horses. It's got massive facilities with 2 20-horse walkers, tie-ups, wash bays, and all that working area is under a big clear span, 80 metre by 30 metre shed. So when that first went up, we had trainers that are here on course drive past and sort of claim that their whole stable complex could fit under that big shed and that working area. So it is going to be a wonderful complex. It's set up in a really nice established space, and we've been able to maintain a lot of the trees. So although it'll be brand new facilities, it's going to look quite established right from the start.
So Cal, you've got the capacity to have 40 horses walking on the walkers at one time. You've got treadmills, you've got the pool right beside you, only 50 metres probably from the crossing that goes out onto the tracks. You've got somehow you're sort of the last in, and you've got the best location. I'm not sure how that's worked out, but it's obviously been very well negotiated on your behalf.
Yeah, look, we're very, very privileged. I was there last week, and Belinda and everyone has just done a tremendous job. It's obviously a huge build, and we did have the hiccup with the hold up with coronavirus, but that was out of everyone's control. And, you know, walking through it, even though it's not finished yet, I get a really good feeling about how it's going to flow. And, you know, having the opportunity to design it, Dad and I, to design it how we want, it is just perfect. And the main thing is that the yard has to flow. It's got to be workable, and I really think we've nailed it. So I'm really excited for it, and very much looking forward to getting over there.
So to have for those that are listening that are unsure whether this might be, the new stable's been built in what was the Cup Day car park. So if you come up the driveway off Midas Road, not Kendies Road, it's the McAvoy's new complex takes in a fair bit of what was a car park on the left-hand side. Belinda, what's the club's plans to manage parking, given there's now 102 horse stables where there used to be car parks?
So we've still got some options. There is over probably half of that space still available. There's probably other options on course and options just across the road for the club to be able to accommodate the number of cars that they have traditionally for Ballarat Cup Day. I don't think we're going to probably be at capacity this year, unfortunately, for cars and patrons for Ballarat Cup, but hopefully we've got our fingers crossed that we might see some patrons on course by that time.
That's on the basis that the McAvoys don't continue their winning run and end up taking over the whole car park at some stage.
Yeah, I think there's a few trainers that have got their eyes on that front half of the car park and what we could do with it. So we'll stay tuned on that one over the next few years.
Travis Preston, we do have your question here on the screen, so we'll get to that when we cross to Terry Henderson shortly. So Cal, perhaps if you just tell us quickly about the decision to move to Ballarat. You said that the club's been very helpful, which is great, and you like the facilities, but what else was it about Ballarat that I guess inspired you to choose our hometown as your new base?
Yeah, look, it's you know, the main thing for us is that the country environment for the horses. It's, you know, we train in the city here and also a country over in South Australia, and we just find the difference is, you know, second to none. Horses out in fresh air, and they just seem to do better, Lachie. So we looked at a few places, but Ballarat, you know, an hour and 20 minutes down the road from Flemington. It's a thriving community. I've been lucky enough to get there a few times over the past sort of 6 weeks. And you know, it just looks a really nice place. Everyone's helpful and a really passionate club and passionate town about their racing, which is what I'm seeing.
Yeah, it's the place is busy. When I finished there, come out 12 months ago, and it's going to be a whole lot busier when you get there. So it really is a wonderful thing for Ballarat. So thanks so much for choosing Ballarat for your new base, and we really are excited about you coming along. Hopefully you'll have an open day. Is that the plan when you first open the stable?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, we've got to wait and see what happens with what's going on in the world, but we'd love to showcase the property. It really is something to be proud of, and not only for us, but for Ballarat Turf Club as well. I think it's just going to be a beautiful, beautiful facility, and I'm looking forward to getting there and meeting a lot of the Ballarat locals and becoming a Ballarat local myself.
How many staff will you have there, Cal?
Yeah, look, we're going to need quite a few. We're lucky enough to have a great team of staff at the moment. And there's quite a few people that are willing to relocate over from both South Australia and here at Flemington to stick with us, which is really pleasing to hear. And but obviously we'll be on the lookout for some new faces as well. And it'll just be how quickly we fill it up as to how many staff we need straight away.
And will you bring your own vets and farriers, or will you use local contractors?
Well, actually, our current farrier here at Flemington is Travis Crozer, who is from Ballarat. So he's been doing us, and he'll continue to do us when we get there. Our vet Matt Morahan has bought a property sort of midway between Ballarat and Melbourne because he's really keen to stay in the team. So it's really humbling to know that those people are wanting to stick with us, and but there'll be certainly times for new contractors as well.
Yeah, just shows the commitment when your contractors are even I guess setting themselves up around your business. So really something to look forward to. So just before you go, you're 1 out of 1 with your tips from the other night. Who have you got for me for this week?
I reckon Haydock. He's obviously a 3-time Group 1 winner. He's running in the Scalacci at Caulfield. I think we've not run him short at Caulfield since he ran the Blue Diamond, in which everything went wrong as he was a colt. He was a different horse as a colt. He's a better horse now, and he's got the class. He's a 3-time Group 1 winner, and I think he'll go very, very close in what will probably be a strong race on Saturday, and he'll then go to the Manikato from that.
That's Haydock. Your other stable stars heading towards the spring. What can you tell us about a few of those? Gamekeeper or Dollar for Dollar?
Yeah, Gamekeeper. He unfortunately didn't stay the 2,500 on Saturday in the Bart Cummings. We gave him the opportunity to either stamp himself as a real stayer or not, and he didn't stay. So what we're going to do with him is he's heading back to South Australia. He's going to go and spend a week or two up at our river property, and he'll be targeted towards the Ballarat Cup. So very excited for that. Obviously, huge prize money race. It'll be around the time that we're about to kick off. So it'd be a nice story if we could capture that. We were very unlucky not to win it last year with aristocratic miss. So that's his plan. Dollar for Dollar, we're just weighing up what we do with him. There's $1 million 1,300 race coming up in Sydney. There's obviously the Manikato, but I would like to get him to Perth for the winter bottom at the end of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I love to hear the Ballarat trainers targeting their hometown cup because it just adds the extra element. So, well done, good luck, and thanks again for your time this morning.
Thanks very much, Lachlan.
Okay, see you, Carl. Terry, the questions coming through here on the question and answer part of the system. Hi, Terry. You've been involved with horses for many years. Do you still have any ownership of Pacers? I think the last nice one may have been our Sky Major.
No, there was one after that who wasn't quite as good, but our Sky Major was, I think, won 3 Group 1s. No, the last one was we sold to America about 12 months ago. I raced with Barry Purdon over in New Zealand, as a lot of guys know, for many years, and that was the last one. But I was just finding it with the number of thoroughbreds, I was never getting to the trots, and I still love going, but normally it's just social now. But I don't have any left, Lockie.
But you've made up with plenty of thoroughbreds, and I find myself watching more racing than I probably used to now that I'm not working in the industry every day. So I see your colours not only going around on pretty much all the major tracks in Australia, but also around the globe. Tell us about the involvement of OTI from an international perspective.
Well, that grew out of trying to buy Melbourne Cup type horses back in the early 2000s with Simon O'Donnell. And, we started to buy horses like Hugs Dancer, who came over and won the Craigley, as it was known then, the McIver even now. And really it grew from there. And of course, it was followed by a wave of people going over there to buy international horses. So like in any business, you try and keep 1 or 2 steps ahead. So we've continued to buy the stayers as we do, and many of them are based at Ballarat. And I think there are 2 horses on their way over now that aren't in the normal quarantine at Werribee that are on their way to Ballarat. But one of them's a miler and the other's a 2,000 metre horse. So, good horses can come from everywhere. We buy a lot of horses out of New Zealand, and really it's part of just getting the right horse to do the right job. But our emphasis has generally been on the stayers, and nowadays it's more middle distance stayers.
If you have people stationed around the world to help you find these horses, Terry, you can't be everywhere at once. So you seem to get, source a lot of horses from Europe and also now New Zealand. How do you find these horses?
Good agents, primarily. Agents that you can trust. Agents are agents. They've got to sell a horse every day.
That's an oxymoron, isn't it? A good agent.
Exactly. But we're very privileged. We've got a fellow called Phil Cataldo that many people know in New Zealand, and we've used Phil for 20 years. And in Europe, our main guy there is Emmanuel de Saru. He is actually a Frenchman that lives in America, but he was at the Arc sale for us on Saturday night. And there are two top agents. And then we've got, quite a number of others in Ireland, Hubie de Burgh, in England, Stu Bowman and Hubie de Burgh. And so we spread them out. And most of the European guys, obviously, we bought a couple of nice horses out of Italy this year. So they know what's going on over there. But, I do like to be hands-on as well. So in Europe particularly, I prefer to see the horse. And this year it's made it a little harder.
And you seem to have horses in the big races, the Cups in particular, every year. If somebody rang you and said, "Listen, Terry, I've got a modest amount of money to spend, but I want to experience what it's like to have a runner in the Melbourne Cup," what would your advice be?
Well, advice is always, is like most, I suppose, share brokers, is to spread the investment. The fun of being in racing is not the visible. And you're probably not going to make much money out of it, but we're not all like you lot that have turned up with all these great horses over the last 10 years.
Plenty of slow ones, Terry.
But the reality is that if you've got 20,000, I'd say we'll spend 10 and 2 horses rather than put it all into one horse, because we know the vagaries of the game as such that if you can get a result with one of those 2 horses you spend your 10 on, you're really going to get so much fun. Whereas if you're relying on just one horse to do it. So the first thing is to spread your investment. And the second thing is to, unfortunately, be a little patient, because as we've seen, with a horse like Young Rascal, with Archie, he hasn't come up this prep. And that's very common in their first prep coming out of Europe. But next prep, you'll be right. Gaelic Chieftain was the same. When he first came over, he didn't do much at all early days, and then all of a sudden he's become a horse I think's won $1.5 million. So you have to be patient.
You mentioned before that you like to be hands-on. You've had and I also said earlier, one of my observations is that you're very modest, but you've had a very, I guess, strongly influential sort of outcome on so many of the trainers that have moved to Ballarat and the growth of Ballarat as a training centre. When you think that Ballarat's gone from well down the list to one of the top training centres or biggest training centres now in Australia, not just Victoria, your influence has been has carried a lot of weight with that. I wouldn't, visionary is probably too strong a word, but you obviously picked up something about Ballarat long before these other trainers did, even before Darren Weir did, and started talking about having horses at Ballarat. Now, is that just because of the similarities to what you've seen in Europe, or what was it about Ballarat that I guess led you to encourage so many of these young trainers to move to this area?
I think there are probably 2 things. First, there has to be the opportunity, and you weren't backward in coming forward in selling the place, Lockie, I must say, and with Belinda's help and the rest of the crew there, it was always a very welcoming environment. But the 2 key attractions that I could relate to from the experience of seeing tracks around the world were, first, your straight track. That uphill track, it still is quite unique. And secondly, it's the general environment, and that includes the culture. It's no secret that I've been critical of the culture of a couple of clubs, metropolitan clubs in Melbourne. The culture of Ballarat, the whole relationship horse racing has with the community, was conducive not only to having the right sort of business surrounds to have horses prepared, but the surrounds that enable you to put horses in there that are happy horses. And this is something that I used to speak to Weary about a lot. And his horses in Ballarat, as probably better than anybody, were extremely happy horses. They weren't always the best looking horses, and they didn't come out looking like show horses, but they were happy horses, and a happy horse will compete. So the combination of those two things, the right sort of environment to train the horse on, and I'm a great believer in straight track training, and the general culture and environment of the area for both the people and the horses, I thought was the big attraction. And then since then, we've seen a community develop around the horse racing industry. I think one of the unsung heroes, as it were, for Ballarat is Ballarat Equine. There's not a horse that I buy in Europe that isn't looked at by Ballarat Equine, whether it goes to be trained by John O'Shea in Sydney or Chris Lees or Chris Waller. Ballarat Equine or Andrew Cust goes over the x-rays, double checks the x-rays and the vet reports from Europe. So that is a resource that I think is a tremendous asset to, again, having fit and healthy horses.
Yeah, it's amazing to see what you predicted has happened with this growth of these trainers, and particularly with McAvoy's coming now. And it'd just be interesting to see what the next 5 to 10 years holds, I guess. But on a more short-term view of things, you've got this new horse with Matt Kamani coming out from Melbourne Cup.
Yeah, well, it's an unusual one, really. San Uberto with Matt. He's a horse that's won a Group 2 in France, and we co-own him with there's some French owners in him. But it was sort of, we thought that this year would be the year to bring him out, but we didn't want, he's still a stallion, and he's got a stallion pedigree. So there's the opportunity for him to be a European stallion as a trainer, which, as you know, are much more valuable than stallions over here, staying stallions over here. So we've decided to bring him out, but with COVID, the logistics were very complicated this year. So we arranged between Fabrice Chappé, the French trainer, and Matt here to have Matt look after him and train him while he was here. He's a lovely, lovely big horse. So Matt's job started last weekend, and the poor guy's backwards and forwards to Werribee now each day to look at this horse while trying to train the rest of his team. So it's a very exciting opportunity for Matt, and it's certainly exciting for the owners and the horse to have this horse out here.
Is he in the Cup?
Yes, he will be. I think he's number 31 now, but it looks as though he'll make it.
Yeah, well, it's very exciting. Have you got any other horses that we should keep an eye on the upcoming Spring Carnival?
Well, there are plenty. You mentioned Shalo before with Archie. We've got 5 in quarantine at Werribee at the moment. There's a horse called Celino that ran second in the York Cup, the Doncaster Cup, I'm sorry, just before he left. We own that with Sheikh Fard. You could even find him in the Ballarat Cup. He's trained by Chris Waller. Another horse that'll end up in Sydney called Sound of Cannons with John O'Shea looks a very exciting young horse, and he won't go into the Cup. And then we've got True Self, who did a great job last year in winning the Queen Elizabeth with Willie Mullins, and she's out here, and she settled in well, and she'll probably just miss out on the Caulfield Cup. She might make it, but she'll join Sandy Berto in the Melbourne Cup. So
we're going to wrap up shortly. So if anyone's got any questions for Terry, shoot them through on the messenger, because otherwise the chance will be gone. So you got the spread in Australia. You mentioned John O'Shea and Chris Waller. You've got them in Ballarat, I believe, with probably 3 or 4 trainers at least in Ballarat. Do you spend a fair bit of time on the phone, or when you're able to, obviously, around the stables?
Yeah, well, obviously, being in Melbourne, I can't get to Ballarat at the moment, which is so frustrating. And we've also got, I like Warrnambool as well for similar sorts of reasons. as Ballarat, although the facilities obviously down there are not as great. I think you know, it's a very unusual time in the game. The internet's remarkable. I probably spend less time on the phone than I did 10, 15 years ago, to be honest, because you get in another way.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on board this morning, Terry. You've been a wonderful supporter of Ballarat Turf Club and racing in our region, and also myself. So, on a personal note, thanks so much. We've gone 5 minutes over, so we better wrap up. So, on behalf of Commerce Ballarat, thanks very much, everyone, for tuning in this morning, and hopefully we can do something similar, but in person next year and watch some horses on the track. So, again, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.